Hello and welcome to Taking Liberties, episode 30. No, hang on, episode
It's
3,
episode. No, I'm
4.
pretty sure it's 4.
One
Yeah.
of them.
A
I
good,
forgot that
good
we
start.
restarted the clock. My name's Lee. You've also heard the voices of Vickers in Canberra.
Hello.
And you gotta say audio as well because, there might be people actually listen to our podcast. And they'll be like, they would hear you waving. Anyway, and there's also Tim from Ballarat.
Hey.
Alright, so this week we get...
Oh,
Oh, sorry. You said something. Oh, doesn't matter.
I'm not in Ballarat anymore, so.
Okay.
Just say Victoria.
In Victoria, okay.
Yeah.
He's coming off his high from the LDP conference there.
So this week we're going to be talking about Return of Kings and all the shenanigans that went on with that. We're going to talk about the Iowa caucuses in the US presidential election, and we're going to talk about Julian Assange and generally how much of a dickhead he is. So start off with Return of Kings. So this week, we had basically the Return of Kings. If you're not familiar, is a how do you describe it? It's
described as neo-masculist. That's
they
the
call it
term.
neo-masculist.
No, they're trolls. They are trolls. I troll them all the time. I know a troll when I see it. They are trolls.
We're just using the philosophically correct version
because
of
there's
what
lots
they
of trolls.
believe.
So to distinguish these trolls, is that they are
That they
extreme
actually live under a bridge.
anti-feminists. They essentially, men who think women should literally be chained into the kitchen and stuff like this. It's pretty horrible stuff. Like if you go to their website, which we wouldn't recommend, it's not nice and they're unpleasant people. And the reason it came up as a broader thing is that the creator of the website, a guy called Roosh.
Yeah.
Darish Roosh Velzeldi.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say his surname because it's different.
I thought I'd had a go at it.
He was going to come to Australia and he was going to go do all this worldwide tour of all the... Well, allegedly, he was going to do this worldwide tour of meetings.
No, he wasn't.
Let me finish, Vickers. Just shut up. He was going to come... He was saying he was going to come to Australia and people got very upset and Peter Dutton said he wouldn't be able to get a visa and all this sort of stuff. So it's generally stirring the pot. Vickers, okay, please explain what you want to say.
I'm just like, yes, this is what pisses me off. The entire event was a troll. It was a massive troll. Anyone who has any idea how the internet works could have seen that it was a troll straight from the beginning, right? Firstly, he's buying an airplane ticket, 24 hours before he leaves, right? To Australia, where you need a visa waiver to enter, right? He never fucking, applies for a visa. The immigration department's just like, what the fuck? What visa have you applied for? Dutton says he won't get a visa for coming in. I'm just like, 24 hours before he allegedly leaves. I'm sorry, that's just not how anything works. Anyone who knows anything about the internet could have seen this was a troll from the moment it got released. And I'm just sitting there going we are getting trolled. We are getting trolled. We are getting trolled. Everyone who is talking about this is getting trolled, right?
The thing is,
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is that it fits in with the feminist victim mentality that they're always finding people who have these extreme views about women, and so they dig up these people and say, "See, look at this person. See, this person is going to influence society in a misogynistic direction, and this this proves our cause, and why we need all of these." Pro-women things passed.
Okay, but more than that might be the case for a certain subsect of people, but more than that, for me at least, this vindicates exactly what I've been ranting on and on multiple episodes, that effectively the Minister for Immigration, effectively this entire fact that one person can revoke visas and everything like that is a general bad idea, because firstly, it's based on knee-jerk reactions, right? And secondly, people can troll and make fun of us as a country, right? On a wide scale like this, right? I know the Australian media has largely insulated us from the fact that the rest of the world is laughing at us on this one, right?
Well, no, I don't know. I mean, because he got a similar response in the UK, basically everywhere. I mean, heck, the US.
Well, the UK they've had a petition to ban Donald Trump. I mean, we're not the only country.
But the reality is, let's be real. People don't like free speech, and I'm not just saying feminists. I'm saying most people, as in the notion that you should have free, unfettered, open discussion and debate about everything is not cool. People don't consistently
That's,
believe it, and so
that,
you can
that is
pick. And,
true.
and, and the issue which provokes people is different. So if you would go to the right, it's
Flag burning.
Tari al-Hub or whatever it is, the Islamic.
Hezbollah Sharia.
Yeah, Hezbollah Sharia. If you go to the left, you've got these pickup artists, this guy, Roosh V, and all these other guys. Tyler the Creator was banned because of lyrics in a song from like a decade ago. It's people don't like speech, don't like free speech.
Yeah. The three main reasons that is given for all of this ban on free speech. The first one is that as a society, we don't make a statement unless there's a law or political action that's made by government. The second one is that obviously the hurt feelings, we can't have hurt feelings. And the third is that they think the average person is too stupid to recognize a dumb opinion when they see it. And they think that people will be, just because somebody says something, they'll automatically think, yep, they're right, and believe what they're saying.
See, the argument, I don't actually see so much of that argument actually coming from, like, maybe that's what they believe. It's hard to tell what people believe unless they actually say it.
Yeah, that's not what they've actually argued. They've argued that this person is dangerous to our society.
That's it. So basically, you're going to get all these people who believe rape is okay together. But they sort of, from what I can see, because my feminist mates on Facebook and whatever, the argument seems to be that you basically get all these guys together, he's going to wind them up, and they're going to go around raping people. Which, to be fair, is not the most insane idea, since we've had a big issue with people going in Cologne, where masses of men, hundreds of men, were sexually assaulting women. That's a very different scenario, I think, because you're talking about a lot of men coming from places that don't respect women. Where I guess the kind of guys who are interested in Return of Kings are either really, really sad, crazy, guys like that, the guy who shot up a bunch of people last year.
You can say it. There are Omega males.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, and or trolls, or men who just like stirring things up because that
guilty.
As you said, Return of Kings is, and I'm inclined to believe it is an elaborate troll as well. Like, the reason it exists and says to the things it says is partially because they maybe actually believe it, but also partially because it's just winding people up. But I think there is, you have to answer this.
Take it from someone who's been called a troll several times. That is a troll group.
Yeah.
I recognize it anywhere. I'm just like, yeah, I know exactly what's going on here. I see exactly what you're doing. Props to you. I don't necessarily condone going that crazy, but props to you. I see what you're doing.
So anyway, just to go to the dangerous argument. So, essentially, there's sort of two aspects that I've sort of thought about over this week, which is the first aspect is, okay, if it really is predictable that this guy's going to go and wind up men to, go around sexually assaulting women, which is extremely unlikely. Even amongst internet-dwelling
yeah, I'm just
trolls,
getting them out of their rooms is the challenge.
The fact that they would expose themselves in the public as these people.
Seriously.
Yeah. So, but it's part of the arguments we have to address. So the first thing is, it's extremely unlikely to get together and somehow they're going to become this roving pack, and if they know it's going to happen in advance, then that's a conspiracy to commit a crime. You can arrest them on the spot. If you know that this is their plan to get together to discuss how they can go around raping women, that's a crime already. You can arrest them for that. What it is the notion that there might happen, that as a result this might happen. Well, yeah, maybe. So, okay, it's possible.
Okay. Just,
but I would say it's but anyway, it's if you don't know it's a certainty, then it's still a speech issue.
I just want to pause it right here. Okay, so the scenario that we're talking... So Elliot Rodger is my go-to sort of example.
Elliot Rodger, that's the guy I was thinking of.
Yeah, Elliot Rodger, total dweeb, fucking weirdo, had weird opinions about women, went on a shooting spree and, basically shot a whole bunch of guys and women women for being sluts, guys for being successful, for having sex with women, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just like, would that guy have committed that act if he was in a group of people? And the answer is probably not, right?
Yeah.
And it's just because of the mentality of these people. They can't actually relate with other people at all, right? That's the main problem. It's a sociopathic Like I can't remember the exact thing, but it's a associative disorder,
Yeah.
sociopathic disorder of some sort.
They already have personality
Yeah.
disorders.
Yeah, essentially. So I'm sitting there going like the concept of these, quite frankly, weird people actually socializing, it weirds me. Like, it doesn't weird me out. It's just I just don't see it happening. It's not. It doesn't fit their
And,
psychological profile.
and they're not going to inspire other people. Like a person sitting at home and seeing a news report on this guy, I doubt there was hardly anyone who thought, oh, wow, that guy's opinion's good, yet he's changed my mind already.
Yeah.
I mean, as if that would happen.
No. I'm just like, this is one of the, so, John Stuart Mill. Freaking hell, I can't believe that name escaped me for a second. John Stuart Mill basically said, the best way to defeat bad ideas is by showing them to be bad.
Yep.
And this is one of those few instances where you can actually debate and show the ludicrousness of an idea just on the basis, or just on the merit of that idea. And I'm surprised that you'd want to shut that debate out. To me, it's like if you were given a debate where your opponent was 100% wrong on everything.
Well, having
Right?
said
And you're
that, though,
Yeah.
the people who are getting really, really like the kinds of people who are getting really worked up about Roosh coming to Australia are not the sorts of people you really want to put in charge of a debate, because their attitude towards everybody else is they are stupid plebs and they're disgusted by them.
But,
So
but,
if
but
you
that's
look
why
at- you
those
look at,
people should defer to people like me.
Well, yeah, maybe, but I mean, it's all
I am their
yeah.
better. They're better.
I mean,
Sorry, go on.
Oh, I'm just saying, like it's like if you think about Destroy the Joint and all these kind of feminist outlets, like they really have contempt for anybody who isn't like them, and so that's you can't persuade people from a position of contempt. Like you can't.
So-
But I can't believe that if they were actually intelligent, why they wouldn't realize that the best thing to do is ignore them or make fun of them, not get outraged about it, and give them all this
Tim.
attention.
Tim, hold on. Not everybody is aware of the Streisand effect. Dan, if you are watching this and haven't heard about the Streisand effect, I would suggest you go look it up on Wikipedia. But it's
Yeah, this
basically
is
where
your
Barbara
favorite
Streisand.
theory.
Yeah, no, Barbara Streisand. Like, firstly, I love Barbara Streisand. I know I'm not a raging queer or anything, but still, she's a fantastic singer. Getting back to the point, the Barbara Streisand effect is what happens when you take a very small issue that might annoy you and basically blow it up to the extent where now everybody knows about it. In Barbara Streisand's case, she didn't want her house photographed. She took it to court. The thing exploded, and now we talk about the Barbara Streisand effect.
And everybody takes photos of a house.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm talking way more than everyone else on this topic.
Well, yeah,
so.
I mean, no,
We tell that you're loving this.
I think though that some of these groups live to be outraged, though. Like that's kind of their
Yeah.
and to be fair, that's not a phenomenon that's unique to them. Like libertarians do the same sort of thing. It's just different subjects. So police brutality or the drug war or whatever it is. People like to be outraged.
Well, we're not talking about police brutality today, are we?
Well, no. But like it's there's things in libertarian circles that wind us up. There's things in conservative circles that wind them up, and people live to be wound up by those things. So, I think that's an aspect of it. Is essentially you've got the confluence of people who live to wind up people and people who live to be wound up coming together in an issue. So. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of living to be wound up and libertarians, let's talk about politics. Let's talk about U.S. presidential politics in particular.
Well, this is slightly more important than.
Well, I don't know if it's. I would say it's important. I don't know if I'd call it serious.
Next president gets access to the nuclear codes.
Yeah, but the way they behave, they act like clowns, and so yes, it's important, but they don't act seriously. So I refuse to take them seriously. So anyway, we've had over the first week, the last week, we had a first indication of actually what's going to happen. The first actual votes for the nominations for the Republicans and the Democrats starts in Iowa, moves to New Hampshire.
Guys, seriously, come on. Iowa's just the first state. Why are a bunch of, freaking corn farmers determined to be like the bellwether of the entire fucking country? Let's get over this.
I'd just say they're the first vote, the actual first
They are
vote.
the first.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
I will
That's the
grant
only thing that's special about them. It's when people actually vote.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
and by the way, if there are any people from Iowa watching this who are offended, sorry, I'm Australian. I'm not running for president ever. I can actually just call you a bunch of corn farmers.
Anyway, so in the Republican side, we had Ted Cruz came out on top. I think he got about 29% of the delegates. They have Iowa has a very funny kind of system of generating delegates for the different parties, but essentially it's a caucus instead of a primary. So he got 29% of the delegates. Then you had Donald Trump with I think 25.
24.
24, and then Rubio was 21 or 23 or something.
23.
Yep, and then
23. I should just do this.
Yeah, just
10.
give.
Alright.
Rand Paul was 5, Jeb Bush was 3, Carly Fiorina, Kasich, and Christie were all 2%.
So who came fourth?
Fourth, Carson with 10%.
Yep, okay. And then on the Democrat side, you had essentially a neck-and-neck split. I think Martin O'Malley got like 1%.
Yeah, correct. And I was joking about this because what was it? Hillary Clinton got 50%.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders got 49%, and I'm just like, ooh, Sanders really needed that 1%.
Yeah.
It's the only time we'll ever have needed the 1%, right?
It's a good joke. So, and since then we've had people pulling out. Rand Paul's pulled out. Martin O'Malley pulled out. I'm trying to think of any other Republicans pulled out.
Rick Santorum and Mike Huckabee.
Okay, so people who were never really in it to begin with.
No, see, I object to Mike Huckabee being allowed to pull out. I mean, to pull out of this thing. He's such a staunch pro-lifer. I'm just like, he has to carry that presidential candidacy full term.
Yeah.
That is what he would insist as a policy. And I'm just like, you must carry it through. I'm sorry.
I don't know, if he was Roman Catholic, maybe he'd say pulling out as the only real option. Anyway, so what do we think? Is Ted Cruz, what are people's thoughts on the results? Any surprises? Any no surprises?
Look. Some people said the Trump got stumped, and I basically argue no. He made the stump great again. Going from there, I think Trump made a very well. Here's the thing: Trump
he did less than what people were expecting.
He did less than quite frankly.
Because there was always this talk before the primary. Yeah.
But this is Cruz's strongest state, right? So I was like, there's no surprise that Cruz won. The real surprise, though, is not that Trump lost. It's how well Rubio did. And really, Rubio, I don't know if you guys have watched it, but he kind of talks like a robot.
He's the establishment's choice. He won't change much, says all the right lines, and he can say, I'm the best person to beat Hillary Clinton, which is what he's been saying. So he's the safe business as usual candidate.
Yeah, but having said that, though...
I mean, let's be real. I think, Ted Cruz is probably the thing about the US president is it's pretty much it's so big that things will just by their very nature continue on as they were before.
I'll agree with that. But I was going to say, Tim's actually right. Cruz's main backing comes from the Tea Party side.
Sure, okay.
Conservatives.
But, I mean, I don't think there's that big a difference. I mean, just like elections in Australia, there's not that big a difference between parties.
But people are forgetting, obviously the establishment doesn't like Trump, but they also don't like Cruz. Lindsey Graham said between Cruz and Trump, it's being shot or poisoned.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say, I understand the establishment opposition to Trump because Trump is entirely self-funded. He doesn't actually need the establishment. But I actually don't understand the general hatred from some of the other candidates, because if you actually take a look at Trump's policies, if I was to point at someone who's a centrist politician, and basically someone who's down in the middle, not too left, not too right, it's Trump. Trump is like the median candidate.
But he's somebody that the Republican establishment cannot control.
Correct.
Mean, look at all the campaign rules rules he's broken in terms of political discourse. They don't believe that they can get in this guy's ear. And also, he's quite moderate on foreign policy. I mean, he doesn't want to basically invade everywhere.
Did he still say like he wanted to nuke the hell out of, bomb the hell out of ISIS? bomb the shit out of
Well,
ISIS. I think it was the precise
to be
phrase.
but to be perfectly fair, bomb the shit out of ISIS is what Russia's doing. Bomb the shit out of ISIS is what the world expects.
Well, actually, Russia's more bombing the other rebels that aren't necessarily ISIS. As well, so.
Nobody knows the difference between which rebels are which. Okay,
Well,
they are bombing rebels.
No, it depends what territory you attack them in. It matters a whole lot.
The neocon position is that we need to get rid of Assad and Putin's evil, and Trump doesn't agree with that.
Yeah. And I was going to say,
well-
I was going to say, Trump's policy, and a lot of foreign policy people have been saying this to me. Trump's policy is probably more in line with the international expectation of what America should be doing. It's a reversal of Obama's policies in a large number of places, and it is a lot closer to the policies of Clinton, which isn't surprising because he's good friends with Clinton. I wouldn't be surprised if the person talking foreign policy in his ears is probably a Clinton staffer or former Clinton staffer.
Yeah, but
Or
they're
it
just
could
as
be the
they're
Clintons
just as
themselves.
hawkish as anybody. I mean, that's the thing. Like, they're all hawks. They're all. It's not like there's some people who think, oh, yeah, maybe this is all of them have got a massive raging out on for just blowing stuff up in the Middle East.
Yeah, which is
I
I
why
wouldn't say
we
even
direct them.
moderate.
Which is why we
centrist.
want to direct them.
Well, there's the ultra insane position, and then there's the less insane position. Like,
But no,
when I
that's
say
all
that
there is.
Trump's better, I don't mean he's good.
No, all there is rhetoric, and who's using the most insane rhetoric, and who's using the policy is the same between Bush, Obama, Clinton, Cruz, Trump, all of them. They're all the same. The only person who didn't have an insane foreign policy agenda is Rand Paul. He's the only person who wasn't just like, we need to just take the Middle East and throw it into the sun, except for Israel. Leave Israel there because we love Israel. He's the only one who has any shred of reasonableness, or even just like thinking about it rationally. And even him, he was still, he still was pretty keen to blow up ISIS. Like, he still had some. He was libertarian-ish.
Yep. And Rand opposed the Iran deal as well.
Yeah.
Which it was mainly his foreign policy that turned off a lot of libertarians from volunteering.
Yeah. Well, and let's also be real. Barack Obama came in, certainly all the peace activists supported him, and look how he turned out. So I think more or less every single person from, as it is at the moment in the US with the president, is everybody's interchangeable. They were all, regardless of their rhetoric, in the end they're going to go in there and they're just going to do the same stuff everybody else does, because that's the status quo. And with the case of anything in the US, when you got a massive, all these special interests, it's all tied into special interests doing, whatever. So
yeah. So so I'll be honest. I actually do support. I do support the idea of a Trump presidency, and it's for two reasons. Firstly,
you're a troll.
Mostly, okay, fine. 3 reasons. Firstly, because I'm a troll.
Yeah.
Secondly, the guy wants to build a giant wall, and he hates the Chinese. Can anyone see a problem with that? It's like, come on, guys, the biggest wall, right?
Yeah, you also.
I just have one more, right? The last point is, the U.S. system of government is built with all sorts of checks and balances and these things to prevent even a truly crazy man from taking the country down a path that you would have seen, say, in Nazi Germany or fascist Italy, or even the militarist control under the constitutional monarchy of Japan, right, during the Axis powers during World War II. The American Constitution and system of government is designed to prevent that sort of thing from happening. So I think it would be an interesting test of those institutions to see what would happen if Trump became president.
Okay,
the benefits that I saw is that his economics and trade is really bad, that seeing them all fail would be a really good economic, educational experience.
See, my take is actually, out of all the remaining candidates, the one I'd rather see win is Bernie Sanders. And I never thought literally a socialist, a guy who calls him socialist. If you were to take the best of a bad bunch, Bernie Sanders is the best of a bad bunch, because primarily he wants to completely root his own country and leave every other country alone. And as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly what needs to happen in the US. Every other one of those candidates wants to just blow the shit out of everybody else, go around the world doing all this crazy stuff.
Hang on, Trump
and
wants to build the wall. He wants to
at least Bernie Sanders is honest about like just how insane his economic policies are. Like, you know, he literally he's spending all this money, he has no idea to pay for it. All the other candidates are going to do the exact same thing. All this, they're still going to spend as much money. If there's another crisis, they're still going to have massive bailouts. At least Sanders is upfront about it, as opposed to all the others. And God, I just don't want Hillary Clinton to win. It's enough to make me want to just nuke the White House. Because she is the friggin' devil.
Well,
She's everything that's poisonous about politics in a single person. Just like the lies and the two-facedness and she just literally just stands for getting into power. Like, that's all she exists to do, is to be in power.
I did love that. Did you? I did love it. Was probably when she appeared on Saturday Night Live, Clinton, and they made fun of her, saying, "Oh, you took a long time to oppose that pipeline, and you could have come out for gay marriage a bit sooner." And basically, that she does whatever's popular at the time.
Yeah. Like, it would not surprise me if there were lizards trying to take control of the world. Like, it would not surprise me one bit that she would be one of them. Like there's other people, like Bernie Sanders is like, okay, the guy's crazy. The guy's crazy. He'd never seen a calculator in his life. He has all these crazy ideas, but at least he kind of believes he's kind of has some actual, like, principle behind him. Even though they're wrong, at least he has some principles. Hillary Clinton is like the polar opposite. She has zero principle and just exists to win the president. So, anyway, is there any last words about that?
ABC, anyone but Clinton is your thesis.
God, yes. Anybody. A trained dog would be better than Hillary Clinton.
That's a lot of Hitlery hate there.
All right, let's spend the last few minutes on Julian Assange. Speaking of complete douchebags, Julian Assange and his lack of detention and more his unwillingness to face the truth.
We've really talked about morons tonight.
Yeah.
No, actually, so I really like the UN report. The UN report came out and said, you know, his police arrest.
Well, sorry, keep going. Yep.
Yeah, the police arrest of him in the Ecuadorian embassy as an agreement for him not turning himself over to the Swedish authorities is cruel and unusual punishment. I agree. He can fix that by turning himself in to the Swedish authorities.
Yeah.
I totally agree with the UN. Him arresting himself, that is it is a very cruel, it is very bad punishment. He shouldn't be doing that. I totally agree with the UN for once. I can't believe I'm saying this.
But it's not actually, you have to like go back. It's not actually arresting him for a crime. It's arresting him for questioning.
Yeah, it is a very tiny thing. Here's the thing. I look at it and go like, so all they want is for him to come back for questioning. Right? Why the fuck is that so difficult? It's just like, oh, but they'll extradite. Like, this extradite... I went back and looked at all the case notes on this, right? And all the newspaper articles. The first instance you hear that the US will try and take him from Sweden is after he loses his extradition battle. Right? Before he loses his extradition battle, he's constantly talking about how he never raped this woman, right? And that she's just doing it to get money. Right, that was his complaint all the way through the entire extradition hearing. After he lost it, it's, oh, the US is trying to get me. I'm just like sitting there going like, dude, all they want is for you to come back for questioning. Right?
Yeah.
That first case that you presented, that she's just doing it for the money, that'd probably get you off.
Yeah, you should actually just offer her a check to him.
And it's also interesting the fact that they've got to get him to Sweden to extradite him to America. I mean, Sweden's, you know, it's a Western European country. I mean, if the US wanted to extradite him,
not just that, it's the place where the Nobel Peace Prize is fucking awarded. I'm just like, there are so many things that you just kind of sit there and go like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, where, like, this is the example of taking a molehill and making a mountain out of it. Like the reality is, he actually probably hasn't done anything wrong. He's probably right. There is a woman there.
But he looks more like a hero by staying there. That's the thing.
Probably. I'm not going to make a comment on that. But like, I'm sitting there and going, it looks really, really bad when the only reason that you're not going back, like, it's not as if they're about to arrest him for rape. They're arresting him for not coming for questioning.
Yeah.
It is. I'm just like, seriously, none of this makes sense. Why is there so much trouble on this one fact? Anyway, he's a retard. He's a megalomaniac. You can say all those kind of things, but at the end of the day, he's getting media coverage, and I'm guessing it's all about trying to get more money for WikiLeaks. I think it's probably run out of money again.
They're right about the unusual punishment, but I doubt that that's being stuck in an embassy is cruel.
I don't know. Being stuck near bureaucrats.
Also, yeah, I mean, it's... yeah. The president of Ecuador is not such a crash shot guy, so... I mean, having said that, Snowden's in Russia, but I don't think it's quite the same. It's quite the same thing.
No, but my favorite thing is where WikiLeaks has been talking about how great freedom of the press is, and Reporters Without Borders lists Ecuador at like 100 and something, right, in terms of freedom of the press.
Yeah, Julian Assange is wanted for questioning for something he's done in his personal life that's completely unrelated to his work. Snowden is in Russia because he exposed the truth on massive unconstitutional spying in the US. Yeah. Chalk and cheese. All right. Well, I guess that pretty much does it for this week. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll be back here next week to talk more about Liberty.
See ya.
See ya.